clients? Oh, you mean past clients like rebuying or moving up and everything like that? Not past clients giving you a referral. Like I bought my house from you. I'm going to sell my house. I'm going to buy another house from you.
Correct. Your 30% referrals, are coming from your database.
Okay.
Your 30% of past clients are coming from people that you've worked with before in the past. And then 30% is from people you don't know that you're actively generating business either through your marketing, okay? Because this is not marketing. This is more database management than it is listing marketing or something like that, like putting up a listing sign or putting your listing in the newspaper or on Craigslist. This isn't that.
Right, okay.
30% of your business comes from those other activities, okay?
Okay.
All right, cool. So as you see here, this is our database organization. This is the way we want to organize it as far as the things that we are going to do for specific demographics within our database. So I'm sure you've heard in the past, you've heard people say A, B, C clients, those kind of things. Right. This is another way to do it. The challenge with a C client is defining what does a C client mean. Most people will define a C client as somebody who's not responsive. So if they don't talk to you or respond to your emails or give you referrals, I've heard that defined as a C client. And my experience is that's not true. That's just somebody who's not responding, right? They, the example I have with that is my business partner, who is 22 years my senior, who did a lot of training for me. He taught me a lot of what I know today. He and I were having a conversation, and he said that he had just deleted like 100 people from his database. Now, he had been in business for 20 years. So 100 people is a lot of people to delete from your database. And I said, well, how do you decide who you delete? And he says, well, they don't respond or they don't send me referrals, so I'm just taking them out and I'm going to focus on my top clients. And I said, well, I would never do that. I said, and in fact, all the marketing classes that I've ever taken, and I've studied marketing in many different ways, have always said, you just talk to the abyss, right? You just continue to market. And that's why you keep your marketing costs very low, so you can market to anybody. So he and I are literally having this conversation as we're driving to a restaurant to have breakfast together, because we would get together at 7 a.m. and have breakfast. And just talk shop and philosophy about real estate. And literally we get there, we open the door, and there's this little old lady who's coming up the stairs. And I hold the door for her, and as she looks up, she says, Steve, is that you? And Steve's my partner. And Steve goes, yeah, hi, how are you? And she goes, oh, I'm so good, it's good to see you. My husband passed away a few years ago, and, it's really sad. I'll probably be needing to sell because, she lives up in the mountains and she's got some acreage, and she says it's getting a little too difficult for me to do. So I need to reach out with you, but for some reason, I'm not getting your marketing anymore. And so I just turned and looked at him, right? And he's like, I got it. I'm putting those 100 people back in.
Right.
So we just market, okay? We don't judge it. We don't rank them based on how we feel about them. We don't rank them if we like them or dislike them, okay? We just market to them, because on the like and dislike thing, one of my clients that was the meanest client I'd ever dealt with, she was a young woman and she bought her first house and she was wickedly stressed out. She chewed me out. And I just came back from my grandfather's funeral, and I was very sensitive, and she chewed me out, and I couldn't believe it. And I did continue to market to her, and about 2 years later, she called me, and she said, hey, Sean, I just put a contract in on a brand new home, and I put your name down as my agent, and I need you to come sell my home. And since then, she and I have done about 5 transactions together, and her husband and I are actually really, really close friends now. And so they're like some of my favorite people. And what I learned from that is she was just under a lot of stress at that time, and she took that stress out on me. But that doesn't make her a bad person, right? That was just, you know, a good person in a bad moment in their life. So I try not to judge it, right? And I try not to put my feelings in place. I just market to them. Okay? Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay.
We're not doing no ABC clients.
Yeah. Not ranking them on how we feel about them. So here's how I rank them. Well, let's go from the outside. Our geographic or demographic farm is either a geographic layout, like you and I talked about earlier, of about 250 people, or in an area, 250 homes that we're going to market to. A demographic would be more like if you were marketing to people who like athletes, like you said, oh, you know, I'm a triathlete and I want to market to triathletes too. That would be a demographic farm. That's very popular in Boulder. You know, there's a lot of athletes that come to Boulder and then they get into real estate after, you know, they can't perform at a high level anymore. And so their demographic is other athletes.
Right.
So that would be a geographic or demographic farm. Another way to refer to that is these are people that you want to meet, right? Mm-hmm. The next one is people that know you. And the reason that this is a dotted line is because know you implies that they, if they got a letter from you, okay, if they got a letter from you, would they know who you are? Okay. So if you go on an appointment and on that appointment, you you go out on a listing appointment or a for sale by owner appointment and you don't sign them, okay?
Yeah.
You would put them into this section of your database because now they know you, okay? The next one is know and like you.
Okay.
These are the people that are typically people that you've either met with, spent time with, and or they've used your service. So these would be your past clients, right? Know you, like you. These could also be like your insurance agent, your financial planner, your attorney. Now this outer list out here, which is know you, but don't necessarily like you, this could be like this could be like, not like that they dislike you, but this could be like your insurance agent that you don't have a strong relationship with, right? Mm-hmm. You're still your insurance agent, but you know, you're not gonna hang out with them, right? So they still get marketed to in a different way. And then this last circle right here, this little tight circle right here is know, like, and trust you. So this is the group that are your kind of your closest people. These are your past clients that are referring you. These are your friends that you hang out with most of the time. So if you look at it like this, it's like, this is like 25 people. This is like, you know, upwards of 75, 80. Mm-hmm. This is about right here, about 150 to 200 people. And then this geographic demographic farm is a separate database that's about 250. Okay? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay. So here's how we market to them. You'll notice that these boxes encompass all the rest because we want our marketing to be very simple and we don't want to have redundancy. So we want to reuse as many of the items that we can over and over again. So evidence postcards go out to everybody. Everybody gets those, okay? Newsletter, an item of value, or quarterly events, and these would be potentially larger events. These go only to people that know you, okay? Unless you were doing a specific quarterly event in your geography. So if you were doing like a neighborhood garage sale or a neighborhood shred day, that would be a separate event just to your geographic and demographic farm. But we'll talk about that later. Special events are going to be very small, low-cost events that you do more frequently. So the special events would be like doing an ice cream social, okay? It would be doing like a little happy hour where you're not inviting, you're not expecting to have 50 to 100 people there. You're having anywhere from 3 to 15 people at the largest, because you're really looking at ways to spend time with people in a very purposeful manner, but they need to be able to interact with you one-on-one, face-to-face, because we need to be efficient with our time. And then lastly, people that know, like, and trust you, this is the group that you spend your time with. So this is who you would go to lunch with, you might have coffee with. This would be one-on-one time. Okay? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, any questions on this?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay, cool. Well, hold on, I clicked away. Okay. So here's where agents tend to make a mistake in marketing, is they tend to target their message to their entire database, okay? And the reason that they're doing that is, at the bottom you see, they don't want to look salesy, or they want to give people something that they would use. So this is how this shows up. Let's say you have a database of 150 people. If you're marketing to 150 people, to all 150, you would want to give them something that they use, like a coupon or a free day at the zoo, or a tip about, how to save money on their refinance, or something that you think that this whole database of 150 can use. Okay, but the truth is that's not who our target audience is. Our target audience is specifically not the 150, it's the 4 people inside that 150 that actually have to sell or buy a home. That's it. And the challenge is that 4 people changes every single week, every single day. A different person says, maybe today I want to sell my home, okay? So the problem with marketing to the 150 is your message doesn't connect with the 4 that need you. Okay, you follow that?
Okay.
So our marketing plan is designed to only target, okay, is I shouldn't say only. Our marketing plan is to specifically message to those 4 people so they know when it's time for them to buy or sell real estate that you're a viable source to do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look here at this message right here, okay? And tell me, what do you think this guy does for a living?
He's a baker. Even though I know he's a realtor. You think he's a baker. I know he's a realtor, but I get what you're saying.
How do we know he's a realtor? This could be a mortgage lender. This could be an insurance salesman.
Right.
Now, I want you to think about this. When you get a postcard, how much time do you spend looking at it?
2 seconds.
Right. So marketing is actually communicating to the subconscious mind. It's not marketing to the conscious mind. This is what Coca-Cola has known for a very, very long time, is that their branding is designed to, when you're in the grocery store and you're looking at all the different choices, that your internal unconscious mind is gonna move to selecting the product that you're most familiar with. And if they can keep their brand out in front of you, that you're gonna connect with that first. Now, we don't have a $4 billion budget like Coca-Cola does to market. So we have to be much more specific with our marketing. So now look at this postcard. Is this a high quality image?
No.
No. But tell me about this person. What does this person do for a living?
He's a realtor.
How do we know?
Sale and it's a house.
Yep. And do we know what to do? If we need to sell, is there clarity in there?
Right.
Yeah.
Call him.
Call him, right?
Right.
So here's our rules of marketing that we always want to follow, is 3 rules of marketing. We must either provide evidence of action, which is previewing homes, showing buyers, holding open houses, right? anything actively, right? Hey, I'm going on a listing appointment. I'm doing this. This is very, very important when we're going on, this is very important like on Facebook, right? Remember how we talked to like, we're going to work on some of your Facebook stuff?
Yes.
This is going to be your message is, hey, look, I'm going out to go preview homes today. Have a great day. Click and you're done, right? Or a photo of a home that you previewed, or a photo of your open house, right? Because people need to see that you're actively in the business. Evidence of success, right? This means that not only are you doing the work, but you're getting results from doing the work. So you had a listing that went under contract, or a buyer that went under contract. You had a closing, or you had a new listing, right? That's evidence of success. And then lastly is evidence of knowledge, which is information on local real estate market, information on national real estate market, changes in real estate law, knowledge of home ownership, like, hey, it's the winter time, you might want to begin winterizing your home. Hey, it's the springtime, here's some tips for owning a home, but specific to the home, because you want to be the expert in the home category, okay? Not the cookie category, okay?
Right.
Okay. How are you feeling about this so far?
That makes sense. So no silly recipes, no tips on nothing that doesn't have to do with what we do all the time. So it's not salesy, because I like what you said about before, because it's very true. I mean, you have 150 people, not all of them at the same time are looking to sell. So if you get them on the cookie postcard, you're not capturing them because they don't care about the cookies.
Exactly.
Have them buy the house and send them the cookies later.
Oh, you're getting it. You're getting it. I love it.
Right.
Most people at this point will argue with me. So I appreciate that you're on with me. This is where people just start to like argue their position about it. So
no, I'm very much with you. We'll argue about me getting to do it and my fears and everything, but I'm very much in tune to what you're saying, and it makes perfect sense.
Great. So here's the 3 rules of execution. Okay, these are the 3 rules of execution, and these are in order of priority.
Okay.
In order of priority. Number 1 is consistency, right? Consistency meaning the consumer receives it on the same time every single month. So that means first week of the month, it shows up at their doorstep every single time. So if you think about your energy bill from your local energy provider, your gas and electric, does your bill show up the same time every month?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Imagine if it didn't.
Right.
What if it just randomly showed up? What would you think of them?
Yeah, they were not doing their job. I get that.
Yep. See, all we're doing here is we're speaking to the unconscious right now. We're speaking to their unconscious mind and letting them know, look how consistent Jen is. Bam, 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 bam. She's like methodical. And if she's that consistent in her marketing, she's going to be that consistent when she works with me. And if she's consistent when she works with me, then I can refer her. Because we do not refer companies or people that are inconsistent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, think about your favorite restaurant that you refer all the time. If every third time you went in there, it was inconsistent, like they had one good chef and one really bad chef, and somebody said, hey, where's the best place to get Mexican food around here? And you're like, well, there's this one place, but man, every third time I go in there, it's horrible. You're not going to refer it. Not even if it's horrible, even if it's just slightly inconsistent. So consistency is truly, truly the key to get referrals. Okay. That's what builds that trust. So consistency is number 1. Frequency is number 2. So here's a very, very common mistake people make. In marketing to a geographic area or even a demographic area, when they begin to get results from it. So let's say you're marketing to 250 homes and you're 90 days in and you get a listing, right? What are you unconscious, or what is your reaction to want to do?
Well, my reaction was like, yay, this works. Keep doing it.
Keep doing it. Yeah. Or let's go to 500, right? If 250 works, 500 is going to be better. And maybe even 1,000. Like I was just talking to an agent recently. He said his goal is to get his geographic farm to 20,000 homes.
That's a lot of money.
That's insanity. That's insanity. Because we know it won't work, because when you start to get results, you don't go larger, you increase frequency. Right. So instead of mailing once a month, you actually begin mailing twice a month. If not forever, but for during the time that the market is very hot. So either seasonally, like during springtime and early summer, you would double down for a few months in your marketing. And then you could back off in the wintertime, keeping your once a month on your consistency. Or when the market's hot, you would double down going to twice a month. But when the market cools, you would back to once a month, not going less than once a month. Okay? So we increase frequency before we increase the number of homes we're actually sending to. Okay?
Okay.
Third is quality. Quality is third in the hierarchy of execution. It's more important to deliver the marketing piece and the messaging than to worry about perfection and design, which we call perfection paralysis. This is where most agents get hung up, is they're not happy with the quality, and it truly oftentimes doesn't have anything to do with the marketing piece as it does with the insecurity of the person mailing it, okay? Because they don't like their photo, they don't like the font, they don't like the wording, they want to be unique, right? Quality is the lowest of importance, okay? Now, I like quality things, I like quality in my marketing, but I know that quality will create paralysis and things just won't get done. So here's my rule. 80% is good enough, okay? Get it to 80%. Get it out on time, okay? Don't get hung up about it, because you're sending another piece next month, and the next month will be better than this month. All right, so next is, let's talk about the evidence postcard. So the evidence postcard is, again, evidence of action, okay, that evidence of action and evidence of success. So that's what we are going to convey in our postcard, right? So our evidence postcard is, what business are you in? Are you successful doing it? And what am I as the customer to do next? So the most important piece on the what business are you in is always have a photo of a house, okay? The house subconsciously tells them what you're doing. If you have a picture of a car, they're going to think you sell cars. I swear to you, I had an agent who I met with who had a picture of a car on his business card. I have another friend who has a picture of a bear on his business card. Like, what are in
Colorado?
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck are you doing? So, and what are you successful doing it? That is either a picture of a sold sign or the word sold, right? So, are you successful doing it? And then, what is the customer to do next? So what is the call to action for that customer? And give them one call to action. Don't give them like, email me, text me, mail me, fax me. It's, here's how to get in touch with me. Here's the best, most efficient way to reach me. Call my cell phone, text my cell phone, email me. Whatever it is that you want them to do, that is the most efficient way for them to get to the next step. Give them only that call to action. Okay? Because today, like, people will Facebook you, they'll text you, they'll instant message you. I mean, just tell them how you want to be communicated to. Okay. And then on the back side, you see here on the back side, the same imagery. You have to have the house. You have now the back doesn't have to change. Okay, you can just have a standard picture of a house with a for sale sign and a picture of you, right? Call to action doesn't have to change. The front only changes monthly. So literally you're pulling one house off, you're putting another house up, okay? You don't change the format, you don't change anything, okay? Because it's speaking to the unconscious mind. Okay. So here you go. Here's a very simple one, right? Mm-hmm. Photo of Stephanie here. Evidence of the house sold for $533, $379, $5,000 above asking, under contract in 2 weeks, closed in 28 days. Now, here's the thing, right? What business are they in? Picture of the house, picture of a sign, right? Are they successful doing it? Evidence number 2 is sold, right? Yep, the word sold. What is the customer to do next? Call today for a free home valuation. Very clear, right? Okay. Right, just so basic. Like, I'm telling you, it's so simple, just don't mess it up.
Okay.
So then, I'm going to show you, I'm going to skip down here to the marketing calendar. So here's how our marketing database marketing schedule works, okay? Our annual database marketing schedule. Here's our months, evidence, postcards, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. Now here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you sold the house. It doesn't matter if you listed the house. It doesn't matter if the house is in the neighborhood that they live in. You don't have to put the address. Do you notice this house, I don't believe this one that we looked at has the address anywhere on there, right? Oh, it does have the address. So it's a fake address, but it does have an address. But if I was mailing this to my database that was outside of Boulder, I would just delete the date. I would just delete the address because it doesn't matter where the house was. Then what we're telling them is that we're actively being successful in the business, that we are in the business and we're successful at it. So if you don't have a listing, use somebody else from your company's listing, right? Just ask them for permission. Hey, do you mind if I market your listing? Sometimes you'll run into somebody who'll tell you no, okay, whatever. But most of the time, most people aren't going to have a problem with you sending out a just listed or just sold card associated with their listing, okay?
Right, okay, so all of this stuff has to do with listings, right?
It has to do with selling homes. So you can send one that says, I helped a buyer buy this home. That's fine. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm asking because, you know, right now I do much more buyers. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to get more listings. I mean, that's something we're still going to talk about.
Well, this is how you do it. They got to see you're selling listings. I'm telling you.
So, and then, you know, in my situation, as I told you, is that technically I have, you know, $10 million of new construction. I'm allowed to market whatever way I want. Perfect. You know, everybody in the office can market the same thing. So good. You know, so the problem is I don't have a picture. They're all renderings and stuff, but we'll get into the details later. We'll go through that.
And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if somebody in your company just listed a house, just go ask them, say, hey, I saw you just listed that house. I've got to get my evidence postcard out. Can I use your listing? Right. And you could even say, hey, at the bottom, I'll give you credit. I'll say listed by such and such. But because the truth is, they're not reading it. The only people that actually sit there and really, really read it are other realtors. Right? And so we don't care. The truth is we're speaking to their unconscious mind. So they get the postcard. The postcard goes across their face. They see Jen, real estate successful. That's what they think. It goes into the garbage. Okay. And then as soon as it comes, and then 3 weeks later, they say, oh, you know what, I need to sell my house. And they think Jen, real estate successful. Okay. That's all we care about is that they're seeing that you're actively in the business. Okay. Now email, you'll see down here in our database, here's our rules, right? Evidence postcards. Okay. Here's our rules for that. Email is for transfer of information, right? Specifically about real estate, the real estate market, or their home. It communicates to them your knowledge or expertise of real estate, okay? That's what email's for. Don't sell in real estate, or don't sell in email. So when we're marketing to email, we're not saying, you know, you need to buy this house, or you need to sell this house, or da-da-da-da-da. Because they'll spam you, okay? Right. If you do that too much, they're just going to put you in their spam filter. and now you just lost them. Okay? So you see here some examples, right? Tax planning, market update. I'll explain the save the date here in a minute. Spring planning, market update, those kind of things go in email. Now, mail is for sending items of value, what are valuable to them, that they are likely to read or to keep, i.e. like a magnet, like a football schedule or a baseball schedule, newsletters that communicates feelings of community that are also seen as an item of value. So a newsletter to them that says, hey, you know, I'm a human too, I have a life, and here's who I am, makes them feel connected to you. And then that connection is what allows them to think of you in the future when they want to buy or sell, or even when they have something emotional going on, they feel emotionally connected to you because they understand who you are a little bit better. Okay? And then here we have calls, and then we have events. So I'm going to back up, and I'm going to get into this right here, this section right here about mailers, okay? About our mailers.
Okay.
Because newsletters are wildly important, but they're wildly misunderstood, okay?
Okay.
So we want to create an effective newsletter that people will actually read, right? We want them to actually read it. So we're going to take our newsletter and we're going to break it down, and we're not going to use templated newsletters, okay? Because templated newsletters that are pre-made, the evidence is very clear that they just don't get read. They just get thrown away. And people can sniff out very quickly if the newsletter is real or not, okay?
Okay.
If it's something that you created or not. So we're going to do 20% on specific local market update, okay? So your area.
Okay.
20% on national, what's going on in national. 20% on what's going on in your life, right? Something personal and emotional. 20% testimonial about a client, like a story about a client or a testimonial from a client. So if you don't have a testimonial, but you have a great story about how you helped a client get their home sold, you just tell the little story right there. And 20% about how you contribute to your community, all right?
Okay.
So I'm going to make it really easy. So here's how the format looks. You're going to add a personal story about your family, what's going on in your life that's personal and emotional. I call it the fishing story, okay? Reflect about a recent time that you did something fun, you know, with your family, you know, a photo of your family. And so this is the human side. You're trying to that you're a human and that you have emotions and that they have emotions too, and you're going to connect on that emotional level.
Okay.
Local market, here's the best way to do this is if I come here, okay, here's what you do. You'll follow this two-step process. Step one is you're going to go find an article or a story about the article. So in local or national, okay, you would find an article about like in the local newspaper. So this one says, homes continue to sell briskly in Denver market and fast more briskly than anywhere else in the country, according to a Thursday report from online real estate company Redfin, right? And then we say down here, we then give our opinion. Homes continue to sell. That's just repeating. So then what we're doing, step two, is to give your own opinion of the article in the words as if you were speaking with a client. So act like the client asked you about that article, and then just write 2 or 3 sentences responding to that. And so you're going to do that on the local level, okay, with a local article, and then do it on a national level on a national article, okay?
Okay.
This should only take you literally 5 minutes each. Like bam, bam. Like don't overthink it, because you're just showing them here is showing them you have knowledge and understanding of the market and you have an opinion, okay? You have an opinion of the market, which is good. You want to have an opinion. So client story or testimonial is a personal story about a client transaction or testimonial from a client. Reflect about a time that you were in assistance or you remedied or helped your client on a specific deal. Or you can just attach a testimonial of a recent from a client. Okay. So that goes here because that's showing them that you care about the human side of your customer. Okay.
Okay.
And then down here, as far as community goes, this is our community section. I like using a preferred referral list that's specific to my database or my community, right? And so you can create community with your database, like if you think about like somebody who has like a referral network, right? And you're my preferred referral network, that would go in here. And so your clients, you know, like you might have a client who's a carpet cleaner, you put his name in here. Okay, Leon, call Leon for carpet cleaning. Here's his phone number, right? If you need a landscaper, here's Jane, here's her phone number. And so your clients feel like they're connected within your newsletter. You follow that?
Yep.
Okay. If not, you can do something like volunteerism. You can do something where maybe you're donating back to a cause. That would be a good place right here is, you know, 1% of all my income goes to help the local, you know, teen outreach program, right? That would go here okay, in community. All right. So down here, I have an example. Here's an example newsletter. This one's formatted differently, but it follows it exactly. So here's the local, and then here's the national top housing trends. Here's his fun thing he did is he did an escape room, right? And then here's his testimonial.
Okay.
And then his database or his marketing pieces or his community referral network. Now, what's interesting about Chris is Chris charges $25 a piece for these people to be in here, which I don't think he charges his lender. Oh, he spelled mortgage wrong. I just noticed that. I don't think he charges his lender, but everybody else he charges because there's no RESPA compliance when it comes to a dry cleaner, right? Okay.
Right, exactly. So this is a mailer? Like this is mail?
This is mailed always, but it can be emailed in addition to the mail.
Okay.
But it's not only emailed because it won't get read in email. It'll probably get saved, but not read. Okay? We want it to show up in their hands. We want them to be able to touch it, feel it, stuff it away. Okay.
And how many times a month we send this out? Once a month?
No, you're going to love this. Look at this. So this goes out quarterly. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It's too much work to do monthly.
Okay.
Quarterly. Just quarterly. Not too much. Okay.
Okay. So where's his, here, go back to Chris's. So then quarterly, you do quarterly, and then so you're only picking like something you do with the family. So, I mean, is that so like
you're just picking a story? So, like, if you're sending something out in October, you might show a trip that you did in August. You know,
right? Or like taking my son to the pumpkin patch. Or something like that,
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, are you allowed to put like? I went to Jamaica with my husband and there was a picture. Yeah. Even though, okay. Can you just send it? Do you have to be in that picture too? Or can you just, no? Okay.
No. You don't have to be in the photo, but definitely have a personal side to it where you're conveying emotion and how much you appreciated being able to go and how much you enjoyed the time off. Like make it very emotional.
Right. Got it. So, and then so this goes out to the geographic, the demographic, everybody.
No. So when we go back here, this goes back, newsletter, item of value, quarterly events, goes to the know you, know and like you, know, like, and trust you. So it doesn't go out to the demographic or geographic because they don't know you. So
I see. Okay, I see the lines. I did see what's sick. So
they don't
evidence post care. Right. So until the person with the evidence postcard moves from the geographic demographic into your Know You, they get a newsletter.
There you go. You got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Did I get that right?
You nailed it. You nailed it. That's exactly it.
Okay, so the 250 or 300, whatever I have of the addresses that I picked with the streets that we talked about, like from where I live.
Yes.
That's our postcard. We start sending our postcards. After somebody calls me, and even if we have coffee or something, then we move them to the newsletter.
Even if they called me. So if they called and said, hey, I just wanted to have some advice. I might be selling my house in the future someday. They're moving into that Know You database. Because if they received a letter from you, do they know who you are? Okay? Yeah. That's how we define that.
Okay.
So if they called you and you immediately put them into your database and they received your newsletter, they would go, oh, this is the woman I talked to last week or last month. So
they go from the random demographic database of John Smith, who lives at 1234, into your sphere of influence data, like your next Know You, because now they become someone that you've actually talked to.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I don't if I'm jumping ahead.
No, good.
So our first plan of action that for me to do is we're going to do the postcard first.
Always. First. Okay. Yep. All we want to do right now is get that postcard out.
Okay. And that's like something we can do on Vistaprint, right?
That's exactly what yep.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. All right.
Okay. And, okay. So remember if we go back to our marketing calendar, so we have event, and we have this funny green thing, and this is called an event funnel. Okay. So what the event funnel is about is how do we drive people to an event? Oops. Sorry, hold on, my screen shifted. Okay, how do we drive people to an event? And the event is not about having the people to the event as much as it is about inviting people to an event, okay? That's what's the most important, is the invite. So people have plans and people get busy, but they love to get invited, all right? Now, so what I suggest doing is, with your database, now remember when we talk about this, we're talking about this group of people here that are special events, okay? So know you, like you, or know, like, and trust you, okay? That's the demographic that we're talking about right now. What I suggest doing is you could break down these events based on geography. That's usually a good way to go. You do something like an ice cream social, where you go to like the local ice cream shop or creamery. You ask them, what is your slowest day of the week, okay? And say, I'm going to come in on a Tuesday between 4 and 6 o'clock, and I'm going to invite all my clients and all my contacts that live in a 5-mile radius of your ice cream shop. And I'm going to invite them to come here. And what you do is you go buy little raffle tickets, and you just tell them, okay, for every raffle ticket that gets turned in, I'd like to be able to buy them like a medium ice cream, not the little itty bitty thing, but not the giant triple cone. And then when we're all done, we're just going to tally up the raffle tickets, and I'm going to pay for the ones that got handed to you. Okay. Now, the reason you want to do this is as people show up, they have to come to you to get the ticket. Okay. And that ticket buys them an ice cream. And then you're going to negotiate with the place for probably a 10 to 20% discount on the overall bill. Okay.
Okay.
Now, here's what's cool. If we started here with your database, and we just sent out an email that said, hey, save the date. And then we mailed them a quick invite. And then we made a call to them. And then we had the event. If we started with 250 people we might get at the end about 50 people that are going to show up at the event. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So, realistically, on an ice cream social, you're going to start with about 150 people, and you're probably going to have about 25 people that are actually going to show up. And that's including kids, okay? You're not going to have that many. Now, if you do the math, and let's say on average you're spending $4 per person, okay? So 4 times 25 is 100, duh. And then let's say you brought a lender with you or a financial planner or somebody else who's trying to also build their network, okay? That's not a competitor, not like another real estate agent, but somebody else who would benefit. And they split the cost to you. This whole thing just cost you $50, okay? So this is a great way because it's not about how many people show up. If 4 people show up, that's okay. It's about that you invited them. They want to feel connected to you and that you're thinking of them. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So now here's your homework.
So the event is 4 times a year as well. Something.
I have some agents that do them every month.
What?
I have some agents that do them every single month.
Oh,
They're small events. These aren't big events. These are little get-togethers all over town because you kind of got to move it around, And you got to do an ice cream social, and then you do a happy hour, and then you do wine tasting, and so you kind of mix them up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're going to have to get out there, Jen.
I know.
You're going to put your smiley face on. All right. So here's your homework.
Does meeting my mommy friends for drinks count?
Well, yes, one time, but you can't meet the same mommy friends 12 times a year.
Right.
So you have to move it around, and you got to change it up so you get different people.
What if I started a mommy wine night myself and invited different?
Only one time. That doesn't count. That's socializing. That's not business. Okay? This isn't about socializing. You can go socialize on your own time. We're making money.
Right.
Okay? Because the problem with that, all you're doing is getting the same people together over and over again. We want to think about your entire database of people that know you, and we want to mix it up so you get an opportunity to invite all the different demographics in there in all the different areas that they're in. And this also allows you to network with your community. So let's say I own a small liquor store, and you're going to do a wine tasting in my liquor store, which you're going to bring in your people and introduce them to my liquor store. I'm going to think you're awesome, right? And so I'm going to let you put your marketing in my liquor store, right? But if you're doing a wine night at your home, I don't think about you if I'm the liquor store, right? You're a benefit to me, right? So you're going to have to get yourself out there. You're going to have to put yourself out, okay? You gotta be the connection in it all. Okay, so here's the homework. You're going to take here's an annual database example right here. Here's your own. So you get an opportunity here to create your own. And you can start it, start in May of 2017, and then this could go 2018. And then next 2018, you can create a new one. But you're going to create it for the rest of the year. And so you're going to mark your evidence postcard, what topic email is going to go out, what is your newsletter going to be, not what it's going to be, but when is it going to go out? Are you going to do an event? And if you're going to do an event, you need to think about the event funnel. So you're going to have to backtrack. So I like to start with the events and then work backwards, right? Because the events fall into the email, the mail, the call, the event, okay? Now, on the call invite, if you don't want to talk to people, I am totally fine with you using Slidial to just leave voicemails, okay?
Okay, I don't know what that is, but all right.
Yeah, write that down, Slidial. So it's a way for you to call, and it just leaves a voicemail on somebody's phone. So the voicemail is like, hey, it's Jen. Hey, I just wanted to invite you or remind you about the upcoming ice cream social I have on Tuesday the 12th. I'd love it if you can make it. If not, hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking of you. Have a great day. Click. That's it. Okay? It's all about them and contribution, that you're thinking of them and that you invited them. That's what's important.
And these events are completely different than like a specific open house event or wine tasting for a project or anything like that. They're not listing or anything driven. They're just social.
This is all about your database and you being the person in the database that is thinking of them and connecting with them in a way of being very purposeful and contributing. And your salesiness comes in your evidence postcards, okay? That way, every time you talk to them, you're not saying, do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a home? Do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell a home? Because they're going to stop taking your call if you do that.
Right.
Okay? So like that works for the short term. For the long term, they just stop taking your call.
Even though I did my data, it's not that big, but I guess that'll just have to grow. And we'll just what I have. My personal database, not the address one that I pulled, but my personal one, not as big as I expected it to be. But
that's okay. That's okay. No, seriously. It doesn't have to be big for it to really work. Okay? Sometimes it's better that it's not big, to be honest with you. Okay, so remember the other thing that I said is muy importante is that you have to have consistency. So also attached in the email I sent you is a calendar. So this is a 2017 calendar with holidays in it. So if we go to May, let's go to May here, and we say, okay, in May, we want them to receive the evidence postcard on the 5th, then it has to be completed by the 1st into Vistaprint. So Vistaprint mails it by the 3rd, so they get it on the 5th, okay? Right. So then we got to look at this. And then we got to look at this and say, okay, then if I want to get my newsletter out in June, I want to get it out by the 15th. That means I should have it completed by the 8th and over to, a print company, because we use print companies to mail newsletters because Vistaprint doesn't fold or mail newsletters. They only will send
it back to you.
Yeah, they only send it back to you. So we use mail houses, and they're about $1.25, $1.30 a piece out the door, full color. So that's a pretty good deal. So if you have it going out on the 15th, you got to have it done by the 9th to the mail house so they can get it printed, get it folded, and out by the 13th so it shows up on the 15th, okay? If you're having an event, right, you say, okay, I'm going to have an event on June 30th, then I need to make sure that I get an email out to somebody, and so you're going to take some time. This project right here, you doing your annual marketing calendar, this is going to take you 3 hours, okay? This is not I'm going to sit down for half an hour, with Dancing with the Stars in the background and get this done. This is going to take concentration, system 2 thinking, and about 3 hours of working on it for you to get it completed, okay? But here's why this is important. Once these things are done, once this is completed and this is completed, now let's say you hit June 1st. You know exactly what to do June 1. You don't have to ask yourself. You don't have to think about it. And you can have other people, which I love that you have somebody else on the call, that can do it for you. Okay? Right. But if you don't have a plan, you can't execute the plan. Okay? All right. That's it. Any questions?
No, I think I'm good. You sent it to me, so I'll print it out, and then if I have any questions, I'll email you guys once I organize and get everything done.
Okay.
So, all right. So my calendar and the postcard is the first thing, and then
yes,
newsletter is the second thing.
Yes, I would say the number one thing I would do right now is get your evidence postcard together and get it in the mail. I would say if you get that done right, in the next week, Call that a success. Okay.
And then that's to our large demographic and everybody who knows. That's to everybody.
That's to everybody. Yep. If you get that out this week, success. Okay. Success.
Okay.
And then the next thing would be to do your calendar.
Okay.
Okay.